joins us now. He's along for the Lakers ride, currently coming from OKC. Dave, they already got the win against the Thunder on Sunday. So I said on the show yesterday, I might take that. I might be happy with a split and refocus on a huge game tomorrow for Luka's return to Dallas. But I'm not the coach. What are the plans for the Lakers back-to-back here?
Well, we know for sure, Malika, that Rui Hachimura will not play tonight. He's out with left knee tendinopathy. He hasn't been playing in back-to-back since he came back from that injury a couple weeks ago. But then half the rotation are also on the injury report. LeBron's on there with that left groin strain that caused him to miss a couple of weeks recently. Luka Doncic has a new injury, a right groin strain that caused him to be on the injury report. You also have key rotation players like Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent, and Dorian Finney-Smith on there. Now, the Lakers listed all those guys other than Rui Hachimura as questionable, which will allow them, should they choose or should they need to downgrade them to doubtful later on as the day progresses without getting in trouble from the NBA for resting guys when they shouldn't be. And, of course, as we know, the kind of carrot at the end of the stick is they have this game tomorrow in Dallas, which certainly will have both standings implications, but also just kind of chemistry implications, wanting to win that thing Doncic in his return.
Yeah, it's going to be an emotionally charged game, certainly tomorrow night in Dallas. Dave McMenamin, thank you so very much. The Lakers, they have 4 games left. 3 of the 4 are against teams who have something to play for. Tomorrow, it will be one of the biggest games in recent memory, maybe the biggest return game we've ever seen. Our Tim McMahon details why the Luka AD swap, it will go down as the most shocking tool with this proximity to the postseason as we bring in Brian Windhorst, Kendrick Perkins. Brian, I'm going to start with you here. Just your reaction to both Malone and Booth's dismissal.
Yeah, so Shams described it as a Cold War. That's absolutely true. You know, let me just say that for the decade, you know, Michael Malone has always preferred to play veteran players over young players. I can go back to talking about when he preferred to play Jameer Nelson over Emmanuel Mudiay when he was a lottery pick. And over the last couple of years, the Nuggets coming off that championship have lost some veterans like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown and Jeff Green. And the draft picks that Calvin Booth drafted, this slate of wings, Julian Strawther and Christian Brown and Peyton Watson, there was a pressure to play them, and that was an issue. But that has been an issue between executives and coaches for decades, and will be decades more. I mean, the team was ultimately successful. Same goes with Michael Malone with players. Michael Malone, you know, was very rough on his players. He screamed at his players. He called rage timeouts. He would yell at them in film sessions. He would yell at them in the locker room. He would yell at them in huddles. Their players all got tired of it over the course of time. Why it would be any different now when they're on this 4-game losing streak as opposed to 5 years ago, to 5 weeks ago, I can't answer that. What I can tell you is with Calvin Booth, his contract was up at the end of this season. He had negotiations throughout the year, before the year, and going into the year with management, with ownership. Those talks broke down. And so it was kind of known within the league that there was a chance that Calvin Booth was not going to be retained. The Nuggets over the last couple of decades under owner Stan Kroenke have repeatedly not retained management. But it is most like the Kroenke family, Stan and Josh, who own many teams across the globe, to be patient. That you wouldn't do this with a coach, especially the winningest coach in team history. So we'll hear more, I'm sure, from the Kroenkes. The fact that there was a breakup between the GM and coach isn't surprising. That it would involve Malone, too, is not maybe jaw-dropping at the end of the season. As you mentioned, it happening now is not what we would have ever foreseen.
I appreciate all of that context, and then my mind goes to, okay, Nikola Jokic, right, the league MVP many times over. He's only had one coach in his NBA career, and it is Michael Malone. Perk, your reaction to this?
Well, he's about to have 2 coaches. And guess what? I'm actually not surprised. Here's why. Okay? We all know from watching this past season that it was trending towards this direction for us, Michael Malone. He's been lost the ears of this locker room. We have been seeing the frustration in Nikola Jokic. I always say, if you want to see how a team feels about their coach, watch their effort and watch them defensively. How many times has Michael Malone had to call his team out for not competing at a high level on the defensive side of things? And now all of a sudden you're looking at Calvin Booth and him being fired. Well, guess what? You got Nikola Jokic, a generational talent, the most skilled big to ever play the game of basketball, a guy that is knocking at the door of being a top 5 center of all time. Guess what? over this past week or so, he's had a 60-point triple-double. He's had a 40-point triple-double, and a few other triple-doubles that has came in results of L's. So with that being said, you have to every single year, every single minute, find how to put the necessary pieces around your best player. We saw it happen with LeBron James his entire career. GMs were always under pressure of how can we better the roster to make sure that he has the best chance of winning the title. We're witnessing it. We witnessed it with Giannis Antetokounmpo. We witness it right now today with Steph Curry, right? They go out and get Jimmy Butler. Again, I'm not surprised, especially in today's game. And this year when we have witnessed Luka Doncic being traded, we have witnessed Taylor Jenkins being fired, and so now it's Michael Malone. And by the way, Shams, you are on a legendary run, damn it. I ain't gonna even lie. Damn it, this is impressive.
If we thought Taylor Jenkins getting fired was surprising, though, this takes the cake because, like Malika just said, for a championship coach to get fired this late into the regular season, this is tied for the latest firing ever in NBA calendar, but never has it happened like this for a team that's in fourth place. He just won a championship 2 years ago, and he's someone now, when you think about the coaching market, Taylor Jenkins, Michael Malone are now infused into a market where I would expect there to be, guys, a lot of activity these next few weeks. But for the Nuggets' perspective now, David Adelman will be their interim head coach. They feel very good about him moving forward, but what message does that give this group as far as what they're going to compete for, what they're going to contend for? There's a lot of questions in Denver coming up, and I would expect some real questions around not only the coaching position, but also who's going to manage this roster long term. For
anyone who wants a little bit more information on David Adelman, Shams, who will be the interim head coach, as you reported, of the Denver Nuggets, here you go. He has been an assistant coach with the Nuggets since 2017. He was with the Magic before then. As we've all hit on, it's really the proximity to the playoffs, though, that makes this so firing, right? So shocking. There's just 6 days left in the regular season. It appears as if the Nuggets are fourth in the West, but when you look at the loss column, Brian, it's actually a little bit deceiving. You lay this out so very well. Can you just one more time reiterate why they're in such a tenuous spot?
So again, if you look at everybody who's got 32 losses, the Nuggets have one more win, but they can't control the loss column. You can't get rid of a loss. You can obviously add wins, but so when you compute them into that tie, make it a 5-way tie, they are 7th. So right now, the reality is they're pretty much facing being in the play-in, which is stunning and not acceptable. And they have to go to the Kings tomorrow. That is a team fighting for its playoff positioning. That's a road game. And then they, on Friday, have a really huge game with the Memphis Grizzlies, which, quite frankly, whoever wins that game may determine whether one of them is in the play-in and one of them is in the playoffs. So that's a huge game. And then they close the season with the Rockets. I don't know how much that will be important to Houston. Houston's about to clinch the 2 seed.
Sure.
But these are 3 very challenging games against teams in front of them. And I will say this, David Adelman has interviewed for other head coaching jobs. He is probably destined to be a head coach in the NBA, whether he remains a head coach here or not. He actually has an opportunity here to lift this team up. And I'll give Perk credit. Perk yesterday was calling out the way the Nuggets were reacting on Sunday, their lackadaisical and lethargic defense. And maybe the ownership